do we take basically FE? Now we've identified the gaps, how do we then mobilize and galvanize the FE sector to actually do something useful? So what we've done is introduce a number a series of briefings that will help the FE sector to at least understand some of these issues, to unpack the various concepts, the aspects, and how do you approach teaching some of these emerging technologies. Where do you focus on the applications, on the design, on the production side of it, and how do you specialize? Because we can't do it all. You have to become specialist in that development. So we kick-started the very first one in terms of low carbon technologies and skills a couple of months ago here at the Royal Society, and we had a fabulous response. And we've seen some of the results that are coming out of this briefing in terms of we started to see the development of that curriculum. We started to see the commitment of colleges to engage in the low carbon technological development and skills development areas. Another area in terms of achieving reduction, because I don't believe, as an engineer, I don't believe the only way of reducing carbon is just looking at the energy activities. We need to look at beyond the energy activities in terms of the design itself, addressing sustainable design, looking at new materials, looking at the new inventive approaches and innovative approaches to actually approaching and tackling the problem of carbon and decarbonisation. So, for example, the use of composites materials in all sorts of things, in clothing, in the manufacture of airplanes, in dental sort of practices, in hip replacements, whatever you can think of, actually advanced composites will have a role in the future. But are we preparing our youngsters, our next, the next workforce, are we preparing the workforce to be ready and equipped to encounter and use some of these exciting technologies? We have a problem in terms of nuclear and commissioning and decommissioning. France depends on nuclear in a big way, and 95% of their energy sources is from nuclear. But we haven't taken that particular approach in this country. But now I think we need to look at the energy security in this country, and therefore that will require an investment in skills to be able to enable us to actually address some of the commissioning and decommissioning activities. So we've conducted some of these activities with the help of these organizations. We're very grateful, and we look forward for next year to seeing some of the results of these activities. Let me now turn to the professional development strand, the second strand of the foundation. This particular strand focuses on basically the dual professionalism of our teachers. So you as a teacher, but also as a technologist, as an engineer, as a scientist. How do you keep up that development? How do you keep up your knowledge, your experience, to be reflective of what industry actually wants? We talk about demand-led, we talk about supply-led. What about that joined-up approach between demand and supply? Because that's the best way actually of addressing the problem, not actually looking at it just from one angle, because educationalists can look at the pedagogical development of the learner, and industrialists would want to have the economic and technological skills that are needed to address the markets, the market spaces they operate in. So it is about joint approach. The IFS, the Industrial Fellowship Scheme program, which we've been operating with the support of the Gatsby Charitable Foundation, it's been absolutely a first-rate scheme that provides an immersive experience, an experience on-site in industry to enable that acquisition of the new knowledge and to repurpose that knowledge in the classroom. The impact so far is about 140,000 learners since we started the program. And as you can see, on the previous slide, you've seen the sort of the breakdown in terms of the participation of male and female participation. Initially, when we started the program, we had 2% female participation. Now we start to see more actually women engineers, scientists taking part in this particular program and being engaged with industry. So it is important, good news, but we need to keep that momentum going. We need to ensure that we replenish the knowledge in the colleges to provide the most up-to-date knowledge to enable us to compete internationally. If you look at the actual national coverage, it's a truly national scheme that covers all parts of the UK, the 4 nations, and although we haven't operated in Scotland initially, we now started to build momentum after many of the MPs sort of approached us and said, why are you not operating in Scotland? So we needed more money, obviously, but we had to raise more private funds to be able to support this activity. And here we are, the list of colleges that we've given bursaries to, about 130 colleges that we've given grants to be able to engage in the industrial secondment scheme. Today we are celebrating the success of these fellows who have engaged in the industrial fellowship scheme, and we want to express our thanks to all the host companies that have taken the fellows for a period of 3 weeks and supporting this particular activity. The second form of professional development is the Masterclasses program, and this is another form of giving a dedicated technical immersive experience rather than sort of a more generic experience. This is a very dedicated experience in terms of addressing some of the emerging technologies. So if we talk about nanotechnology for the FE colleges, which part of the nanotechnology I can play in? Which segment of that technology? Which segment of the airspace I should be focusing on now, not what we did before? Which segment of the car manufacturing? For example, now we're seeing the emergence and the development of the electric vehicles. Have I got the capability within the college to address the development of electric vehicles, for example, and so on? So this is the sort of areas that we are trying to tackle through providing industrial knowledge, because these events do take place on site at the company site, and to show them exactly the process that they need to go through to develop the knowledge and the curriculum and the training. Normally, at the end of these sessions, you will have a pedagogy specialist which will then ask you and work with you to say, how are you going to teach this in the classroom? You've acquired that knowledge, fantastic, that's great. How are you going to teach it now and apply it in the classroom? So this is what we are doing. We've so far had about 350 participants in that program, but ideally we are looking to about 600 participants on the program, impacting some 60,000 learners nationwide.